Hello and welcome back to Salt Star Radio. I'm Jacquelene Closemore and I'm coming to you live from my office in Melbourne, Australia. And hello and welcome to the show. If you're new listening to the show or if you've been listening for a while. I actually had a client the other day tell me they listen to every episode, although they can't listen to them live, they listen to them by podcast. And I thought that was rather good because they've got a PhD. And I sort of think, wow, because I really can't stand university texts. They sort of make me feel like I might be running my fingers down a blackboard rather loudly. And I tried once to read a particular academic text, and I just found after the first paragraph, and I can understand awards, legislation, contracts, contract law, no worries, a bit of an entrepreneur, so the attention span is sort of do. But this particular academic text, after the first paragraph, I thought, I don't know how much more of this I can read. And then I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll try and get into the mind of the writer. And then I realised there were three of them. And then so I thought, well, okay, as an empath, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit magically, esoterically around a telepathic coffee table at a cafe with these three authors. And I'm just going to sit here listening to them chat, and I'm going to see if I can get in there on that conversation or at least just, take it in a bit. And I thought, and I felt, and I sat, and I watched, and I understood their taste in clothing. But I still couldn't understand this text, even though I understand the subject matter implicitly. It was actually about international business. And I'm like, so after about the third paragraph, I was glad I didn't have any sharp or blunt influence of any great, nearby. And that's about when I just sort of, what, I'm actually not going to read this. And I relayed that to a university intake officer and said, if only the writers of academic text could write more in the interests of how the reader takes it in rather than almost on purpose trying to exclude the reader. I think life would, more people would be doing uni and we'd be getting a lot further in life. Instead of this, it's like the old days of contract law when it was therefore, herewith, and so insofar as, which a lot of people didn't get. And so they've nowadays got contract law, so it's sort of like plain speak. And a lot more people are able to represent themselves as a result. And I think the empowerment of education in the future is really going to be about how the academic can actually reach the audience rather than exclude the audience. And unless you're, smart enough, you can't possibly understand me. It's all about actually making it more accessible. And then I feel that, it's almost an intellectual snobbery we need to avoid. So, I started the show with that one. It's a rather interesting discussion to start off with, but it's about how we can sort of all connect more with each other, I think. And it's been interesting, the cases this week, I've had people coming in and there's been a lot about the mother and the relationship with parents particularly. And so at the moment with the energy, it's really important for you to, in the case of having difficulty with your parents, as much as possible to see it from their perspective, but yet you kind of got to retain your own path, and that sometimes means difficult decisions, and sometimes it means loving from a long distance, and sometimes it means creating a larger distance, and in other times it means coming back together. But if you're a parent and you're having troubles with your child, it's sort of an interesting one as well, because there certainly has to be a certain amount of understanding and flexibility rather than, I guess, judgment. So the more that we can reach out to each other rather than trying to exclude, rather than trying to have the authority over or be the smart one in the room. The world needs a lot more empathy rather than this sort of superiority stuff, I guess I would call it. So just something to think about for this week. We've got a rather interesting eclipse going on right now. A lot of the themes of Leo are coming through that. So this is family, loyalty, and there's nothing Leo hates more than insincerity. So it's really important to sort of look at, those sorts of themes, and particularly around how we protect others around us. And that's just something for you to think about. So you can find a lot more on the internet about the different themes of this eclipse. I sort of don't see any point going a great deal into them because there's lots of other people who already are doing that. But yes, it's just about owning your own energy. That's how I would put it. And looking at the practicality of what you're requesting from people too. You know, is it being reasonable or is it maybe going a bit far? So the more flexible you are, while not bending over backwards for people, the better that is. So I'm going to go to my first caller. Whoa. We've got Lorraine. She's in California, which is an interesting place to be. I love California. Are you there, Lorraine?
Yes.
Hello and welcome to the show. It's lovely to speak with you. What I do when I'm doing a reading is I start off with the date of birth, and that allows me to tune into you better. It stops me from reading people in the cheese aisle in the supermarket. Could I start with your date of birth, if that's okay?
My what?
Your date of birth, if I can.
It's 11/4/74.
So is that the 1st of January or the 11th of the 11th of January or the 1st of November? I got it, 4th of November. Not a worry. Okay. So interestingly, with your energy, there'd be a lot of changes and transitions happening over this last year, and it's going to be really important for you to look to the positives in the situations you're finding around yourself this year, I feel. It's really important as well to take time for yourself where possible. And I would also see a lot of changes coming up with whether it's some kind of large financial transaction, so even looking into housing and things like that over this year and over the next year as well. Was there a question you wanted me to look at for you?
And money?
Sorry, I really didn't hear that.
Excuse me?
Okay, about money. Yeah, so there we go. It's just what I've been talking about. I don't know whether you can hear what I've already gone into, but yeah, to me, it may be helpful for you later to listen back to the podcast to get everything that I'm saying. What I really feel here is I would see a large financial transaction happening this year that shifts things for you in a positive direction. It's really important for you to stay as positive as you can about that and to not, I guess, buy into what negative statements other people around you might be making about the current situation. So the more flexible you can remain with this, the more open to negotiation you can remain with this, and being able to see the market value of things rather than simply how much you might need or how much you might want to spend or not spend. So that's going to be the way to get the more out of the situation because it can get into a bit of a deadlock if someone is being immovable, inflexible about how much something is worth. So hopefully you'll be able to get this message to you, even if you can't hear it so clearly right at the moment, because it's sort of like I'm not quite sure what's happening on the line there. But you'll be able to listen back to this on the podcast at the very least and be able to get a lot from it. When we look at 2017 for you, about home, house and family and about wanting to shift things around that direction as well. And also make sure that you're doing things that feel right.
I can't really hear you.
Yeah. So you may need to listen back to the podcast to get the rest of this reading, which should come through clearly on the podcast. Unfortunately, it seems like we've got a bit of a strange connection happening there. But what I would say, as I said, is things around the home, the house and the family this year changing and improving and needing to look at how we can be flexible in amongst that change. So that's the answer that I would give to you today, Lorraine, and I wish you the best for it. You can contact me offline through the Ask One Radio website. Just follow the links there, and you can also find me on Soulstar Radio's website and Facebook page if you're wanting further clarification on that, and I'd be happy to do that for you just for the pieces that you might have missed, and I'll make some notes about that because normally I forget readings straight after I've done them, but in this case I'll be putting some extra effort in there for you just because you've had trouble hearing me on the line, and I've certainly had a bit of trouble hearing you there. A lot going on for Scorpios at the moment with things. With some people it's going to be feeling of a time of readjustment, a time of things not feeling quite settled, This too will pass is the saying I would use there for people in Lorraine's situation, particularly if you're Scorpio or if your your day and your month of birth add up the same. So if you can add your day and month of birth up and come to a 5, regardless of how we get there. So you add your day and then you add your month, put them together, bring them down to a single digit. If that comes down to a 5, yes, you're going to get a feeling of instability at the moment, a feeling of having to be flexible and yet not liking how flexible you're having to be, because I shouldn't have to do that. It's really important if you're feeling that way to shift a bit to the right or the left as relevant. So that's what I would say there. That's what I would do. So, it's going to be a case of having to, just keep open to the way things are. Be realistic about prices, expectations, how much, how little. All of these things are really important at the moment because there is a lot of shifts going on energetically out there, and it's very easy to get stuck into, I have to have this much in order to sell because this is what I want to do with the money. It's more about this is where the market's at. And either I want to go into that market right now or I'm going to wait for a market that is more appropriate. If you're trying to sell a house at the moment as well, particularly if in the Southern Hemisphere, it's a good idea. Yes, you can sell quite quickly right now. There'll be demand right through 2017. But, once again, be realistic about your price. If you're offering a realistic price from the get-go and having that figure in your mind of what you would like to achieve and sort of holding on to that while being realistic about the listing price rather than, I like that real estate agent because their price was flattering. They're my friend. No, they're not. You find yourself dropping the price later, and of course people then feel that they can negotiate you down rather than up. And certainly I think I can walk my talk there because I sold my house in 2 weeks for about $40,000 more than the local agent was prepared to say he would even go near. I sort of don't want to get arrogant about that, but it was good. Trusting your instincts as well as realistically looking at the market is really important. And when you're looking at doing deals or when you're looking at even income from jobs, just be really realistic. You can have in your mind the figure you feel you'd like to get. Once again, know the market. And certainly in my case, I held in my mind, I'm like, I reckon I'm going to get about this much to that much. And it was literally halfway in between those two. And some people go, oh, that's easy for you because you're psychic. No, I'm still human. And in some ways that can be more frightening. I'm not sure whether it's being human that's more frightening or the more frightening about knowing something's going to be that way and still feeling the jitters anyway. Sometimes it's an act of faith and sometimes an act of logic, and you can have both at the same time. So that's my message for both Lorraine and also for anyone listening who's in those sorts of scenarios and situations. You put your heart out towards the goal you're wanting to get to. You have the figure or the idea in your mind of what you'd like to achieve, so that's setting up the positive. But then we've also got an understanding of the market or the value of something in the marketplace, whether it's a work marketplace or a house marketplace or whatever it is. And then we sort of can go between the two, and that flexibility allows the energy to flow in. So don't block your opportunities by going, it must be this, and it must be delivered in a pink box with a white bow with frills on it. Keep it real. That's what I would say. So that's something to do for this year. When we look at this year, it's a year of the rooster. It's a time to be very much observing rather than strutting your stuff, as some people have been saying. And that's going to be the important thing to do. So stay flexible as much as you can. So I'm happy to go to more callers as it all happens, and we can sort of go in from there. So let's just see what comes. We have Summer in South Carolina. Woo! Summer's a great season. It's also a lovely person. Are you there, Summer?
Yes, I am.
Hello there, Summer, and welcome to the show. And thank you so much for calling in. It's really good to have you there. Now, was there a question you wanted to ask me?
Yes, I wanted to see if you've seen anything romantically for me coming up.
I do feel that there's a lot of change in the wind at the moment for you, and you'll find that the way that people are receiving you and responding to you is different over the last couple of months particularly, and that's actually a good sign. I do feel that I would feel a lot of positive opportunities coming your way, not just in love, but there will be something there. To me, it's like you need to make sure that you're being open to that and not too, once again, rigid in your ideas of things. And at the moment as well, it's like you need to be very patient in a money matter for some reason as well. Sorry, that just popped in. I can't help it. Can I get your date of birth and I can have a look further in for you as well?
Yes.
Sorry. There we go. I think I've got you back now. So as I said, I do see love opportunities coming in here, but it's really going to be about keeping yourself open to things and as much as possible go with the flow at the moment. Is there something new you're starting at the moment, whether that's in a job or something? But I'm just feeling as if there's something new starting at the moment that you're aware of.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Can I get your date of birth and I can check what I'm looking at?
It's 5/20/74.
So is that the 20th of May?
Yes.
Yep, got it. Okay. Yeah, okay. So, I would see something new there, whether you're aware of that or not, but it's like there's some new opportunity beginning here. And so this may yet still be coming in, but I just feel as if it will be this year. I'd see opportunities.
I just have my real estate license.
There you go. So this is the ability to get some new money happening. With that new energy comes new love. So that confirms for me that I'm on the right track. And to me, when I look at this year, you're going to be flying. It's good. So it's like if we can imagine that we're in a sailboat and the wind's just changed direction, and don't worry, your face won't stay the same way. Sorry, old joke. Really bad one. But it's going to be about staying very adaptable to this energy and shifting your sail around to meet the wind, and that will allow you to rejig and keep that movement going, that momentum going, because there's some amazing energy here that you can utilise this year that'll take you a long way. It'll take you all the way into the shore in a good way, and I think you've got plenty of fish on the boat if you're interested in fish, that is. And fish can be a representation of opportunity and abundance, and my guide's slowly sending me mad. But, it's going to be good, and you've just got to keep open to those opportunities. That's what I would say here. Plus, I would see you being able to really cement things financially this year as well, finally, and being able to feel as if, yes, this is me, I'm done now, I've got it, I'm in the right place, I'm centered, focused, and now all it is about continuing on. So there's a certain sense of peace and balance coming in here, a real rock-solid sense of stability as well on a financial level, and being able to call it what you want. And also I do feel someone coming in love that's actually going to be really good for you, but there certainly has in the past been a knock to your confidence big time on that level, and don't worry, you don't have to go there again. So you get to leave that well and truly where it belongs in the past, and be able to step forward in this new direction. So I'm really excited about it. I feel as if this person is quite discerning. They are competent, really competent in their work, really, really good at their work, and known for that and appreciated for that. I have got no idea what they do for work, but that's what I get. And I just feel with you that it's just going to be about you having to make some big choices when this relationship starts. And it's within the first 3, and I'm not sure if that's weeks or months, that I've got you having to make some big choices and changes. But you're going to be very happy. You're not going to look back on this, in a bad way. You're just going to keep rolling forward. So this relationship's very supportive. It comes left of centre, right out of the blue, not expecting it. Don't feel it's someone you know in the past. Do feel it's got something to do with the future of stability financially, and as if there's a real certainty around the two of you and the partnership around, comfortability, stability, finances, and that feeling of being stable and comfortable with each other, and that there's a complete mutual respect there. So I hope that helps you. Was there another question you wanted me to look at for you at all?
Yes. Wow. Amazing.
Well, very, very welcome. And you do have a very beautiful energy. I feel that you help people as much as you can, and sometimes you've just got to remember, sometimes they don't want help, hey?
Yeah.
And usually it's the one screaming the most for the help that actually sometimes don't actually want it. Sometimes it can be that they just want to sit there and scream, much like a toddler with a dummy. You know, when they throw the dummy on the floor and it's like, you know, they're throwing the dummy on the floor and you're like, what? What do you want? You know, and really, you know, people mean well. They pick up the dummy, they clean the dummy, they you know, and they give the dummy back to the kid. And what do they do? Chuck it back on the floor. So, you know, we can keep doing that, or we can sort of say, okie dokie, someone needs a nap, don't they? Now, if they're an adult, they're probably not in a high chair and can get themselves to bed on their own. I think that if you're going to do psychology, it's probably better to get paid for it. You know, if you're going to do counselling, if you're going to do all this sort of, it's really better to get paid for it, or for them to respect the boundaries of that assistance, rather than, you know, throwing these tantrums. And that's the lesson you've been learning over the last couple of years, is when to say, well, that's enough for you. You know?
I can't thank you enough.
Oh, you're going to do brilliantly. And you know what? Spirit really loves how much you actually help people, and also respects completely how much you've had to put boundaries in there, my dear. So you go and rock that, and, you know, go and show them what you're made of, because you've got a lot of potentials opening up and you just need to run with them, darling.
Fantastic. I need to hear that so much.
You're absolutely welcome, my dear. It's absolutely a pleasure to speak with you. And I also have a rocking, much older lady with you. I believe in spirit, whose energy just travels with you as well and looks over you. And she's very much someone who won't be told to sit down and be quiet. Very thankfully that she's there, because, you know, she's going to be very, very clear on helping you with the directions that you're going in, and at times giving you courage. I'm in trouble. At times helping you find the courage, not giving you the courage, helping you find your courage. She's very adamant about this, to just go out and do what you have to do, even though at that moment you're like, I don't know, you know, and you're really freaking out. And then all of a sudden it's like this energy comes up through your spine. It's like a fire. And then you're like really steady and you go for it. And it's like, hang on, where'd this come from? And, well, that's where it comes from. So, you know, I think that you really need to enjoy that more and feel perfectly okay with it, because there's a lot of that energy that travels with you through her voice and her feeling and her presence. But you've got a mighty good presence yourself, and I just really want you to celebrate that more. And I just wanted to thank you.
I bet you it's my grandmother.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's really, really beautiful, fiery woman, and she will not be told to sit down. I love it.
Yep, I'm wearing her wedding ring, as a matter of fact, right now.
Absolutely beautiful. Look, thank you so much for your call, Summer, and I wish you the best for a beautiful night and weekend. And may you wake up in the morn feeling the glow of the sun recharging your soul, my dear, and my best wishes to you. Thank you to both callers today. We've had Summer, and we at one point had Lorraine, and I've also had some people writing in, and there's certainly, I'm more than happy to answer questions that have been written in, but there is a sort of a confine to the nature of those questions that I can do on air. If there's legalities involved, such as missing people or suspected murders and all this sort of thing, I really do feel for you, but there is a time and a place for that, and I won't put that sort of stuff to air. And when I do work on missing persons cases, I actually do it quietly, silently and confidentially, and demand that. And I actually won't allow the client, who I don't charge for missing persons cases, I actually don't allow them to tell the media that I'm working with them. That's a matter of ethics for me. I've done with a lot of care and sincerity. So thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to being back same bat time in channel next week, when I will be live again with you, sharing the airwaves. In the meantime, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Happy and you know it, clap your hands.